the second time, but there you go.
Now, Dina, because you are a Barbie girl, you spent £153.99 and your lowest donation was £15. Your highest was £30. So your profit was £82.
Excellent. So,
Steve, you spent £68.09 and your profit was £139.65.
There you go.
So that was brilliant. Oh, would you like the money?
I wouldn't mind.
That's yours.
Okay.
And Dina. There you go. Well done.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Dina.
Excellent.
Well, thanks, guys. I think you did absolutely brilliantly, incredibly brave. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
And to you.
Thank you.
Just desserts on the Great British menu tonight, including a raspberry and lemon cheesecake, served at 7:30. Spiced ginger next this afternoon, Anne Robinson and a tasty Weakest Link.
Is our year. The Olympics, the Diamond Jubilee, and the year we win Eurovision. We've won it before, and with a few of these,
12 points to United Kingdom.
we can win it again. So, get behind the hump. The man's a legend. Join me and Engelbert Humperdinck in Azerbaijan for Eurovision 2012. Release the hump.
The Eurovision Song Contest this Saturday at 8 on BBC One and BBC One HD. Catch the second semi-final this Thursday at 8 on BBC Three.
Any chance you could get one of the other friends to do a guest spot?
All right, let me make a few calls.
Lisa Kudrow, hey! It's Matt LeBlanc. Hello?
You think if you died, the other friends would come to your funeral?
Yeah, I think they'd come.
Even Jennifer?
Even Jennifer.
Who Needs Friends when you've got Golden Globe winning episodes? Continues Friday at 10 on BBC Two.
The air hunters face a difficult challenge today, searching for a family called Brown, which doesn't exactly narrow things down. That's in 45 minutes. But first, though, we have found a woman called Robinson.
Here are today's team of 9 contestants preparing for the show. Only one of them will go home with the prize money of up to £10,000. The others will leave with nothing, as their teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 9 people in the studio here today could win up to £10,000. They don't know each other. However, if they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 8 of them will leave with nothing. As round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm John, I'm 63. I'm a retired bank manager from Wellington, Somerset.
I'm Natalie, I'm 20. I'm an English and Communication student from Hertfordshire.
I'm Kenny, I'm 44. I'm a minibus driver from Manchester.
I'm Nathan, I'm 23. I'm a fashion stylist from Fulham.
I'm Tina, I'm 41, a personnel administrator from Southampton.
I'm Dougie, I'm 39, an analyst programmer from Cardiff.
I'm Catherine, I'm 38, I'm a nursery inspector from Solihull.
I'm Joan, I'm 80, I'm a retired bookkeeper from Surrey.
I'm Richard, I'm 29, I'm a production manager from Nottingham.
Now the rules. In each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and you lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 3 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Catherine. Let's play the weakest link. The first question is for £20. Start the clock. Catherine, in history, what colour hair did Queen Elizabeth I have?
Red.
Correct. Joan, With which sport would you associate Nigel Mansell?
Motor racing.
Correct. Richard, in marine life are flatfish born flat?
No.
Correct. John, in history, what H was the name given to robbers, often on horseback, who plagued Britain's roads during the 17th and 18th centuries?
Highwayman.
Correct. Natalie.
Hank.
Of which successful British boy band was Gary Barlow a member?
Take that.
Correct. Kenny, in sport, what S is the English name of the projectile used in curling?
Pass.
Stone. Nathan, in food, what is a variety of dried corn that pops open and puffs when heated?
Popcorn.
Correct. Tina, in the New Testament, what was the name of the Virgin Mary's husband?
Joseph.
Correct. Dougie, in science, what S is a method of destroying living microorganisms such as bacteria?
Pass.
Sterilisation. Catherine, according to the proverb, absence makes the heart grow what?
Fonder.
Correct. Joan, which fishy Steven Spielberg thriller of 1975 became the first film ever to take $100 million at the box office?
Pass.
Jaws. Richard, what R was the title given in India to a king or prince?
Raj.
Raja. John, horseradish sauce is traditionally served with which meat?
Roast beef.
Beef. Correct. Natalie, according to the saying, what sorts of domestic pets fall during a very heavy rainstorm?
Pass.
Cats and dogs. Kenny, in pop music, what instrument did Sting normally play in his group The Police?
Guitar.
Correct. Nathan, who is Tom Sawyer's best friend in the Mark Twain stories?
Pass.
Huckleberry Finn. Tina, in mythology, what S was the father of Jupiter, who also has a planet named after him?
Saturn.
Correct. Dougie, in which 1993 film did Liam Neeson play a factory owner in the Second World War devoted to helping his Jewish workers?
Schindler's List.
Correct. Catherine, was the Open University founded in Britain in 1969 or 1979?
1969.
Correct. Joan,
Thanks.
what J is the name given to the throwing spear in athletics?
Javelin.
Correct. Richard, in nature, do male and female flowers grow together on yew trees?
Together.
No. John, what C is a common name used to describe a handheld video camera?
Camcorder.
Correct. Natalie, in the animal kingdom, are endotherms warm-blooded or cold-blooded?
Warm-blooded.
Correct. Kenny, which member of the British royal family born in 1981 has had her tongue pierced?
Zara Phillips.
Now, I have to accept your first answer. It's Sarah Phillips. Nathan, what do people traditionally dance around on the 1st of May?
Maypole.
Correct. Tina, in area, which South American country is larger, Argentina or Brazil?
Brazil.
Correct. Dougie, in music, complete the title of this hit for Oasis, Don't Look Back in?
Anger.
Correct. Catherine,
Bank.
in cookery, what B is a spoon or brush food as it cooks with a liquid?
Pass.
Base. Joan, the model Christine... Time is up. I cannot complete the question, and in that first round, you won just £400 of the possible £1,000 on offer. Who is hindering your progress? Who is holding you back? Who perhaps made a grave mistake even coming here today? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
John is the strongest link in this first round, having gained the most money for the team. With the most incorrect answers, Kenny is the weakest link. But who will lose out in the voting?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Kenny.
Dougie.
Natalie.
Joan.
Kenny.
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 Dougie.
How's it going for you, John?
Quite well at the moment, thank you.
Confident?
Yes.
What's Kenny done to upset you?
Hesitated, I'm afraid.
You won't be hesitating, will you?
I hope not.
Joan, why Kenny?
Well, I think he got 2 wrong.
You just got the 1 wrong.
Yes.
Tina, why Kenny?
Because he got 2 of his 3 questions wrong.
Right. Kenny, statistically you were the worst player. And with 5 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
When I knew I was on the show, there's 2 things I wanted. 1, to win the show. 2, to not be voted off first. I feel, yes, statistically, I was the weakest link in the first round, but I know I'm better than 6, 7 or 8 of those people that are still on that studio right now. I think the next person to be voted off could be Joan. She's a lovely lady, but she's old and she's feeling the pace.
Round 2, and of the £1,000 you could have won, you've put just 400 in the bank. There are 8 of you left. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's John. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. John, in fashion, the craft of knitting can be traced back to which ancient civilization, Greek or Egyptian?
Egyptian.
Correct. Natalie, in science, what G describes a force of attraction between two objects?
Gravity.
Correct. Nathan, Charente and honeydew are types of which fruit?
Pass.
Melon. Tina, in film, for which character did Tom Hanks provide the voice in the Toy Story movies?
Woody.
Correct. Dougie, which S is a game often played in school playgrounds using a piece of rope by one or more people?
Skipping.
Correct. Catherine, which C is a building material composed of cement, gravel, sand and water?
Pass.
Concrete. Joan, in the UK, what is the maximum speed limit for cars and motorcycles on a dual carriageway?
60 miles an hour.
70. Richard, which English footballer won more international caps, Bobby Moore or Peter Shilton?
Peter Shilton.
Correct. John, in fashion, what nationality is Mary Quant?
British.
Correct. Natalie, in medicine, what F describes the damage to tissues as a result of freezing, often affecting the nose, fingers or toes?
Pass.
Frostbite. Nathan, Hunter and Jet were characters on which 90s TV game show?
Pass.
Gladiators. Tina, in film, Clint Eastwood and Lee Marvin starred in the 1969 Western musical entitled Paint Your What?
Wagon.
Correct. Dougie, if a milkman delivers 2 pints to each of 200 homes every morning, how many pints does he deliver in a 5-day week?
2,000.
Correct. Catherine, in medicine, what name is given to an institution which usually specialises in care for terminally ill patients?
Hospice.
Correct. Joan, in the animal kingdom, which A is an African burrowing mammal whose name means earth pig in Afrikaans?
Aardvark.
Correct. Richard,
Bank.
in the Olympic Games, is the heptathlon an athletics competition for women or men?
Women.
Correct. John, in physics, what is the opposite of convex?
Concave.
Correct. Natalie,
Bank.
what was the name of the shyest dwarf in the 1937 Disney film Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs?
Bashful.
Correct. Nathan, in the UK in 1961, what proportion of the female population were in paid employment, a quarter or a third?
A third.
Correct. Tina, what freshwater plant's waxy leaves float on the surface of the water while its stems are buried in the river bed?
Water lily.
Correct. Dougie,
Bank.
what T is the cultural centre of English-speaking Canada and a centre of finance?
Toronto.
Correct. Catherine, in fashion, what G is an Italian and American fashion house which originally made women's hats and leather saddles?
Gucci.
Correct. Joan, in illuminated manuscripts, what part of an egg was beaten to produce glare used to fix pigments and gold leaf to the parchment?
White of the egg.
Correct.
Bank.
Richard, from which Channel Island do Jersey cattle originate?
Jersey.
Correct. John, which topically flavoured cocktail made from rum, pineapple juice and coconut milk has a name which literally means strained pineapple?
Pina colada.
Pina colada is the correct answer, but you are out of time. And in that round, you won £450 out of the 1,000 you could have won. But who is now a waste of space? Which one of you would not be missed? Somebody is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The statistics show that Richard is the strongest link in this round. The worst player is Nathan, as he gave the most incorrect answers. But will the rest of the team have noticed?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Catherine.
John.
Joan.
Nathan.
Nathan.
Tina.
Nathan.
Nathan.
Let me tell you, team, that you answered 13 questions correctly in a row, and if you'd banked intelligently, you could have reached the £1,000 target. Dougie, why Nathan?
Got a couple of questions wrong, bad round, unlucky.
Joan, do you drive?
I do, yes.
On a dual carriageway?
I do, yes.
And you don't know, you've never known you could go at 70 miles an hour?
No, I'll be putting my foot down in future.
Yeah, you must have been very irritating to other people. Why Nathan?
Well, he got 2 questions wrong and he voted for me in the last round.
That's a good enough answer. Nathan, do you not get out much?
Of course I get out.
Never heard of melon? Various types of melon?
I don't eat melon, Anne.
Right. Well, Nathan, statistically, you were the worst player. We're going to allow you to go and pose somewhere else with 4 votes. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
When I saw the boards turned over with my name on it, I was a bit gutted because although I got 2 wrong in this round, the previous round I did better than most people. All of the contestants are fickle, they're two-faced, they're not playing as a team. 7 of them have got to come off, so I don't really care who the next one is.
Round 3, you could have won £2,000 by now. In fact, you have in your kitty just 850. You're down to 7 players. You've got rid of the minibus driver and the fashion stylist. Things might look up. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Richard. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Richard, if there are 5 glasses of orange juice in 1 carton, how many glasses are there in 8 cartons?
40.
Correct. John, what is the name of the legendary Irish elves that are said to have a pot of gold?
Pass.
Leprechauns. Natalie, by what abbreviation is the General Certificate of Secondary Education more commonly known?
GCSE.
Correct. Tina, what S can be a small edible crustacean or a small puny person?
Shrimp.
Correct. Dougie, in the human body, the cranium is the part of the skeleton that encloses which organ?
The brain.
Correct. Catherine, what UK TV soap is set in the fictional London borough of Walford?
EastEnders.
Correct. Joan, what D is a fight between 2 people armed with weapons usually fought to pre-arrange rules to settle a matter of honour?
A duel.
Correct. Richard, the first US space shuttle was named after which fictional starship from the TV series Star Trek?
Enterprise.
Correct.
Bank.
John, in what area of government would you find a mandarin, the police force or the civil service?
Civil service.
Correct. Natalie, in geography, is the island of Islay in the Outer or Inner Hebrides?
Outer Hebrides.
Inner. Tina, in maths, how many square metres of carpet would you need to lay to cover a corridor floor 2 metres wide and 40 metres long?
40.
28 square metres. Dougie, in TV, which children's animation series was set in Mr. Rusty's Magical Garden?
The Magic Roundabout.
Correct. Catherine, in the animal kingdom, what is the long, usually curved bone that extends from a vertebrate's spine to form a cage?
Pass.
Rib. Joan, which diet plan company was founded in 1963 by a New York housewife?
Weight Watchers.
Correct. Richard, in pop music, which band released the #1 hit album Stars in 1991?
Simply Red.
Correct. John, in the USA, was President John F. Kennedy a Democrat or a Republican?
Democrat.
Correct. Natalie.
Bank.
In the human body, what V is the name given to the organic compounds required in the diet for the maintenance of normal metabolic functions?
Vitamins.
Correct. Tina, now a TV presenter, which former footballer scored 48 goals for England, a total second only to Bobby Charlton?
Gary Lineker.
Correct. Dougie, in money, is the marker the currency of Finland or Iceland?
Finland.
Correct. Catherine, which Q describes any animal with 4 feet?
Quadruped.
Correct. Joan.
Bank.
What famous bubblegum has a cartoon character called Joe on the wrappers who would tell your fortune?
Hubba Jubba.
Bazooka. Richard, is a wart biter a type of insect, fish or bird?
Insect.
Correct. John, what is the usual English translation of Ave Maria? Time is up. The correct answer was Hail Mary, and in that round you managed to put into your kitty £750. But please remember, ditherers are a liability. People who pass are better taking their lack of talent elsewhere. Who now looks worryingly slow compared to the rest of you? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
With the most correct answers, Richard is the strongest link once again. The weakest link this time is Catherine. But can she survive the voting?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Catherine.
John.
Catherine.
Joan.
Joan.
John.
Tina.
We have a 3-way tie. Catherine, John and Joan have 2 votes each. John, why Catherine?
I remember her getting one wrong.
Right. Joan, why John?
He was the only one I could remember who'd got one wrong.
Right, you haven't got much of a memory then?
Well, at times, but it can let me down.
Catherine, why Joan?
She dithered and got a question wrong.
Right, you haven't done any dithering?
No.
Right.
Not yet.
You thought she was the weakest link, did you?
Yes.
Hmm. Statistically, Catherine, she was not the weakest link. Do you want to have a go and a guess at who was?
Me?
That's correct. And when the vote is tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. Richard, you have a choice. Joan, Catherine, or John?
I'll go for John.
Why?
Could be a threat in the future.
Oh, I see, you're not playing as a team anymore.
Yes and no.
Right, that doesn't bode well for future rounds, I wouldn't have thought. John, because he's not a team player, Richard has decided you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I feel absolutely gutted about being voted off by Richard. I wasn't the weakest link. I banked quite a bit of money and I really thought that he would vote for Catherine. I think Catherine will be voted off next. She is passing on quite a lot of questions and I really think that she'll be the next one to go.
Round 4. You've banked £1,600 so far out of potential prize money of £3,000. There are 6 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. You now have only 2.5 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Richard. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Richard, in the human body, in which organ would you find the atrium?
The heart.
Correct. Natalie, in art, was Van Gogh French or Dutch?
Dutch.
Correct. Tina, which writer and comedian had a TV show in the early 90s called The Man from Auntie?
Ben Elton.
Correct. Dougie.
Bank.
In London, is Euston Station north or south of the Thames?
North.
Correct. Catherine, which American president and former film star announced the so-called Star Wars Initiative in 1983?
Ronald Reagan.
Correct. Joan, with which sport would you associate Monica Seles?
Tennis.
Correct. Richard, in art, which P is used as a method of representing spatial awareness and depth on a flat surface?
Perspective.
Correct. Natalie,
Bank.
in the UK, which airport is further west, Luton or Stansted?
Stansted.
Luton. Tina, the male of which bird is called a cob?
Swan.
Correct. Dougie, according to the proverb, who finds work for idle hands?
The devil.
Correct. Catherine, in biology, which M is the process when an animal undergoes a complete or marked change of physical form or structure?
Pass.
Metamorphosis. Joan, in the animal kingdom, which is heavier, the anaconda or the python?
The python.
Anaconda. Richard, which Italian whey cheese literally means recooked?
Feta.
Ricotta. Natalie, in pop music, which of the following was S Club 7's first hit? Bring It All Back or S Club Party?
Bring It All Back.
Correct. Tina, what T is a poisonous substance produced by another living organism that can damage the living body?
Toxin.
Correct. Dougie, what name is given to the upper chamber of the British Parliament?
The House of Lords.
Correct. Catherine.
Bank.
In the human body, what O is the passage which takes foods from the back of the throat to the stomach?
Esophagus.
Correct. Joan, clothes made from what material were part of an exhibition at the Museum of London from November 2000 called Stolen Skins?
Animal skins.
Fur. I'll accept animal skin. Richard, is a murmuration the collective noun for a group of sparrows or starlings?
Sparrows.
Starlings. Natalie, in UK politics, who in '97 became the youngest Conservative leader since Pitt the Younger?
William Hague.
Correct. Tina, in the animal kingdom, what colour are the patches around the eyes of a giant panda?
White.
Black. Dougie, which H is the most northerly of the 15 capital cities of the European Union?
Helsinki.
Correct. Catherine.
Bank.
Which female country and western singer wrote the song I Will Always Love You, which was a UK
Whitney
hit?
Houston.
The correct answer is Dolly Parton, but time was up, and in that round you banked £420. Who's making the rest of you look bad? Who is really too slow to stay? Who needs to be dispatched without delay? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The only player without a wrong answer in this round is Dougie, so he's the strongest link. In a dramatic reversal of fortune, Richard has become this round's weakest link. But will his previous good performance save him in the voting?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Tina.
Richard.
Richard.
Natalie.
Tina.
Natalie.
Another three-way tie. Richard, Tina and Natalie, 2 votes each. Natalie, why Tina?
It had to be someone, and the panda question, it could have been either way. It was a hard question, but she did get it wrong, and it's what stuck out in my mind.
Right. Tina, why Richard?
Because I know he got 2 questions wrong.
Right. Richard, who doesn't like playing as a team member, why Natalie?
She was the only one that did stick out as getting one wrong.
Right.
So it's not tactical, that one.
Right, it's not because she's a threat to you.
No.
Right. Dougie, as the strongest link, you have to cast the deciding vote. I'll just have to point out to you that the weakest link of the 3 was Richard.
Well, I'm still going to stick with Richard.
Why?
He got a couple of questions wrong and have to choose someone. And I always said if I was ever in this position, I would stick with what I had on the sheet. So that's what I'm going to do.
Right. Richard, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
The question about Italian cheese, I'm going to have hell to pay when I get home. My wife's Italian, all of my in-laws are Italian, so obviously I'm going to cop a lot of flack for that. I think I got my comeuppance for voting for John, because that was a tactical vote, and fair enough, you're not supposed to do it, but hey, it's harsh out there, isn't it?
Round 5, and of the £4,000 you could have won by now, your total so far is 2,020. There are 5 of you left, another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Dougie. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Dougie, in science, when did dinosaurs become extinct? About 65 million years ago or 650 million years ago?
650 million years ago.
65 million years ago. Catherine, in tennis, which Australian won the 1987 Wimbledon men's single title?
Pat Cash.
Correct. Joan, what was the top speed of the first locomotive train? 5 miles per hour or 10 miles per hour?
10 miles per hour.
5 miles per hour. Natalie, in geography, Westray, Hoy and Rousey are part of which isles off Scotland?
The Shetland Isles.
Orkney. Tina, in which sport is the Ryder Cup contested?
Golf.
Correct. Dougie, in the human body, what name is given to the tendons found in the back of the knee?
Ligaments.
Hamstrings. Catherine, in snooker, if you potted the following balls in the correct order, how many points would you score? 2 reds and a black.
9.
Correct. Joan, in music, what B is a low-pitched double-reed woodwind instrument?
An oboe.
A bassoon. Natalie, a priest from what religion is also known as a pandit or swami?
Hindu.
Correct. Tina, from which Spanish city does the opera singer Jose Carreras come?
Barcelona.
Correct. Dougie, if you wish to travel directly from Newcastle upon Tyne to Durham, would you head north or south?
South.
Correct. Catherine, sucker-footed, hog-nosed and leaf-chinned are all types of which animal?
Pig.
Bat. Joan, what H is the element that hydrogen turns into after undergoing nuclear fusion near the centre of the sun?
Pass.
Helium. Natalie, what is the official language of Macedonia?
English.
Macedonian. Tina, which public gardens in London are thought to have the world's largest collection of plants?
Kew.
Correct. Dougie, in UK politics, for which party was Virginia Bottomley elected MP for South West Surrey in 1984?
Conservative.
Correct. Catherine, which ex-EastEnders actress is due to star as Eliza Doolittle in a stage production of My Fair Lady?
Patsy Palmer.
Martine McCutcheon. Joan, found living in the Scottish Highlands, the ptarmigan is a member of which family of game birds?
Grouse.
Correct. Natalie, what is the term used to describe the value of one country's currency in relation to that of another?
An exchange rate.
Correct.
Bank.
Tina, in which century did the United Kingdom become official under the Act of Union?
19.
Correct. Dougie, what does the S stand for in the name of American writer Hunter S. Thompson, Stockton or Statham? Time is up. And in that round, you bagged a disappointing £150. Who's going to get the elbow? Who are you going to dump? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Tina gave 4 correct answers in this round, so she is this round's strongest link. The worst player is Joan, who gave 3 incorrect answers. But will the other players have picked up on this?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Catherine.
Joan.
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 Natalie.
Catherine, why Joan?
She got a few wrong, I'm afraid.
So did you.
Not so many.
Tina, what happened to you in that round?
I did quite well for a change.
Yeah. Why Joan?
Because she didn't do very well.
Joan, you're not much good on speed, are you?
I don't seem to be, no.
With 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Well, I didn't mind being voted out too much because I felt I'd done reasonably well for my age. And I've actually got onto a BBC game show, which has been I've been hoping to do that for a while. I think the team had been playing tactically, although at times it's difficult to remember who got what questions right or wrong. So you might vote for somebody and perhaps be unkind.
Round 6, you've won £2,170 out of a possible 5,000. 4 of you left. We are cutting another 10 seconds from the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Tina. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Tina, in what branch of medicine is water used for health and healing?
Hydrotherapy.
Correct, Dougie. With which subject would you most associate the critic Brian Sewell?
Art.
Correct, Catherine. Through which continent does the Euphrates run?
Africa.
Asia. Natalie, in which year of the 90s was O.J. Simpson found not guilty of murder?
1994.
1995. Tina, according to the theatrical superstition, how must one refer to Shakespeare's Macbeth in the theatre?
The play.
The Scottish play. Dougie, is Haydn's Symphony No. 104 known as the London or the Berlin Symphony?
The London.
Correct, Catherine. In football, who did Wimbledon defeat to win the 1988 FA Cup final?
Chelsea.
Liverpool. Natalie, what was the South Sea bubble crisis in 1720? Military, economic or environmental?
Environmental.
Economic. Tina, in film, which actress played the title role in the 1965 comedy western Cat Ballou?
Jane Fonda.
Correct, Dougie. Which British novelist born in 1906 wrote the Mary Ann books and the Malin trilogy?
Catherine Cookson.
Correct, Catherine. In biology, actin and myosin are proteins which implement the contraction of what?
Stomach.
Muscles. Natalie, is the Patola Palace in Lhasa or Beijing?
Lhasa.
Correct, Tina. In a box of 24 hard and soft scented chocolates, 1/4 have hard centres. Numerically, how many have soft centres?
75%.
18. Dougie. Created by Raymond Briggs, which fictional bogeyman has a wife called Mildew?
Pass.
Fungus the bogeyman. Catherine, in the 1980s TV crime series Bergerac, which actor played the title role?
John Nettles.
Correct. Natalie, in which US city is the Waldorf Astoria Hotel
New
located?
York.
Correct. Tina, South Africa's oldest occupied building, the Castle of Good Hope, is to be found in which city?
Johannesburg.
Cape Town. Dougie, in which British city would you find Headingley Cricket Ground?
Leeds.
Correct. Catherine, which London institution of art was founded in 1768?
The National Gallery.
The Royal Academy. Natalie, all Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. Time is up. And in that round, you put into the kitty just £20. Who now is very dazed and confused? Who is far too bewildered to remain on the team? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second time in the game, Dougie is the strongest link. Catherine is the weakest link again, but this time round, can she survive the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Tina.
Catherine.
Catherine.
Tina.
Well, another tie. Tina and Catherine, 2 votes each. Tina, what's Catherine done to upset you?
She had quite a bad round that time.
You mean you had a good round?
I didn't know.
Wow. Catherine, had enough of Tina?
She got a few wrong.
Not as many as you.
No.
Dougie, when the vote is tied, you have to cast the deciding vote. There are no men left to get rid of. Women all the way, Dougie.
Yeah.
But you can choose between Catherine and Tina. You can change your mind if you wish.
Nope, I'll stick with what I've got, Catherine.
Why?
Like I said before when I was in this situation, that I always feel as if I have to stick with what I believe in.
Do you? That must be tricky for anyone at home. Catherine, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Goodbye. I was disappointed to be voted off in that round, but I did deserve it because I did make a mess of it. I think Natalie might be voted off next, maybe because she's younger and she won't know as much as the other two.
Round 7, you started well in this game. You've gone down the drain ever since. You have now only £2,190 out of 6,000 you could have won. 3 of you left, another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Dougie. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Dougie, which 1991 US film starred Billy Crystal as a man suffering a midlife crisis and Jack Palance as his aging cowboy guide?
Nope, pass.
City Slickers. Natalie, in which North African country would you find the port of Tobruk?
Morocco.
Libya. Tina, what article of clothing were zippers first used to fasten?
Trousers.
Shoes. Dougie, who became the 35th President of the United States in 1961?
John F. Kennedy.
Correct. Natalie, in pop music, which American singer and songwriter performed the 1970s song The Tears of a Clown?
Pass.
Smokey Robinson. Tina, in Judaism, Shabbat begins on the evening of which day of the week?
Sunday.
Friday. Dougie, what name is given to the estimate of how much colder it feels when a wind is blowing?
Wind chill factor.
Correct. Natalie,
Bank.
with which business would you most associate the American entrepreneur J.P. Morgan?
Banking.
Correct. Tina, in modern literature, which E.M. Forster novel involves a young Muslim doctor called Aziz?
Jewel in the Crown.
A Passage to India. Dougie, in what year of the 1940s was Germany's biggest Second World War battleship, the Bismarck, sunk by the Royal Navy?
1943.
1941. Natalie, what are the 5 distinctive marks of the Sikh known as?
Pass.
5 Ks. Tina, name the John Steinbeck novel which later became a 1955 film starring James Dean.
Giant.
East of Eden. Dougie, in London, for what does the D stand in the rail abbreviation DLR?
Direct.
Docklands. Natalie, in music, Don't You Want Me was a 1981 #1 hit record for which new romantic band?
Culture Club.
The Human League. Tina, a birthday card measures 8 centimetres by 8 centimetres. What is its area?
64 centimetres.
64 square centimetres, but I'll accept. Dougie.
Bank.
Which 1976 film stars Robert Redford and Dustin Hoffman as reporters investigating the Watergate scandal?
All the President's Men.
Correct. Natalie.
Bank.
In music, what V describes a musician of exceptional technical skill? Time's up. In that round, you won just £60. Now, in round 8, you get the chance to treble what you bank, and that means in the next round, there is £3,000 to be won. The question is, who is least likely to help you raise that bank balance? There is very little time left. Who needs to be dumped? It's time to vote on the weakest link.
Dougie is the strongest link for the 3rd time with the most correct answers. Tina is this round's weakest link, but who will lose out in the voting at this crucial stage in the game?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Dougie.
Natalie.
Tina.
We have a 3-way tie. Tina, Dougie and Natalie. You each voted for each other. Natalie, what happened to you in that round?
I'm not sure exactly. I just didn't get the right questions.
Why Dougie?
I just think we all had a pretty hard time of it, but it had to be somebody, and you really can't choose at this stage.
Tina, how do you think you did?
Awful.
That pretty well sums it up. Why Natalie?
Because we both only got 1 question each, I think, so I couldn't vote for myself. So.
Right. But statistically, you were weaker than her.
Yeah, she banked money, yes.
Now, the flexible, or rather inflexible Dougie. I don't suppose you're going to change your mind as the strongest link. You have the deciding vote.
I'm afraid not.
So, you are the weakest link, Tina. Goodbye.
I feel gutted. The third last person to go out, and that was my first bad round, so yeah, I'm not very happy. The hardest thing about playing the game is when you have one bad round and you're penalised because of it, but then you do it to everybody else as well, so overall it's quite fair. I think Dougie deserves to be in the final because he has been the strongest link a few times, whereas I think Natalie has been very lucky on the voting.
Round 8, you've won £2,250 so far out of a possible £7,000. Natalie and Dougie, only 2 of you left, and this time you have just 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be trebled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So, £3,000 is at stake in this round. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Dougie. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Dougie, according to Alexander Pope, what springs eternal in the human breast?
Hope.
Correct. Natalie, what D is a shingle headland in Kent with 2 nuclear power stations which extend southwestward into the English Channel?
Pass.
Dungeness. Dougie, in which island country in the South Pacific might you travel from Nadi to the capital Suva?
Haiti.
Fiji. Natalie, in what century did the Austrian army carry out the first ever air raid with balloons carrying bombs?
The 19th.
Correct. Dougie, which celebrity quiz show hosted by comic duo Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer also starred Ulrika Johnson and Mark Lamar?
Shooting Stars.
Correct. Natalie,
Bank.
in politics, who was the Labour Prime Minister from 1974 to 1976?
James Callaghan.
Harold Wilson. Dougie, in which decade was Hollywood actor Tom Hanks born?
The 1950s.
Correct.
Bank.
Natalie, in which violent 1976 film does Robert De Niro repeat the line, "You're talking to me"?
Pass.
Taxi driver. Dougie, at what age are children legally allowed to undertake paid work in the UK?
11.
13. Natalie, the American state of New Jersey used to be part of which other American state?
New York.
Correct. Dougie, at the end of which Shakespeare comedy is Aegeon reunited with his twin sons, each named Antipholus, the comedy of what?
Eros.
Correct. Natalie, in the opening ceremony of the 2000 Olympics, athletes from which 2 Asian countries walked together for the first time? Time is up. The answer is North and South Korea, and in that round you managed to win £120. We'll treble that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means prize money today of £2,610. But of course only one of you can take that money away. So now you will be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions. Best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Natalie and Dougie for £2,610. Let's play the weakest link. Dougie is the strongest link in the last round. You have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go first, please, Anne.
Dougie, in space travel, 2 American space probes were launched in 1975 under the name Viking. Which planet were they exploring?
Mars.
That is the correct answer. Natalie, born in 1836, Elizabeth Garrett Anderson was the first woman in Britain to establish a practice in which profession?
Medicine.
That's the correct answer. Dougie, what TV current affairs show claimed that spaghetti was grown on trees for an April Fool's joke?
Panorama.
That is the correct answer. Natalie, which British composer wrote the music used in Land of Hope and Glory, taken from one of his pomp and circumstance marches?
Tchaikovsky.
Correct answer is Elgar. Dougie, in which English county is Keele University?
Lancashire.
The correct answer is Staffordshire. Natalie, who wrote the play Abigail's Party in 1977?
Harold Pinter.
The correct answer is Mike Lee. Dougie, in UK politics, how much money must a candidate put down as a deposit in order to stand in a general election?
£500.
That is the correct answer. Natalie, you need to answer this question correctly to stay in the game. In Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, on which creature does the Mad Hatter pour tea to wake him up?
A dog.
Correct answer is the dormouse. That means, Dougie, you are today's